Welcome everyone for our lesson on solving routine and non-routine problems involving finding the percentage rate base using appropriate strategies and tools. So yours truly once again, welcome to my channel. Please, if you are new to this channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave your comments below. Now let's begin. We have here the problem. Mrs. Sarona was sad in her class because 75% of her pupils failed in the assessment test and only 10 of her pupils passed. How many pupils does she have in class? So we're going to answer the question. Let's try to find out how many pupils are there in all in Mrs. Sarona's class. Now, let's make use first of the first model, which is, or first strategy, which is using of block models. So taking all the details from the problem, we analyze. We have here 75% of her pupils who failed the test. So assuming that only 25% got passed, to make it a total of 100. So this 100% represents the total population of Mrs. Sarona's class. However, we are not sure yet how many are there because this is the problem that we're going to find for solution. Then we have 10 pupils who passed is the percentage. So the actual rate to be used is 25%. To find the total number of pupils in the class, we have here number of pupils in the class is the base. So therefore, this is the missing. So let's try to find out how many pupils are there in all. How to do that? First, we have to make a big block. So this green big block here represents one whole or 100% of the total population of Mrs. Sarona's class. In order for us to know the number of pupils represented by 75% who got failed according to the problem. So there is 75% of Mrs. Sarona's pupils who failed the test. So let's try to discover using a block of the 75%. So we have here this green represents the total number of pupils in the class, and let's try to draw and divide this big block here into four equal blocks, four equal parts. So this one whole now is being divided into four in order for us to identify the 75% and the remaining 25% who got past the test. Okay, so these first three pink blocks represents the 75% of the pupils who failed the test. What is the 75%? This is about 3/4 or 3 out of 4 parts of the whole block. So 75% is the three or consists of these three pink big blocks, smaller blocks. Okay, so what about the blank one here? So we have here the smaller block that remains, color orange, represents the 25% or 1/4 of the total population of Mrs. Sarona's class. This 25% or 1/4 are those pupils who pass the test. Okay. Now, let's try to identify now how many pupils are there in each smaller blocks. So we have here under this 25% who pass the test. According to the problem, there are only 10 pupils who pass the test. So we make a smallest blocks here under this 25%. Let's try to count how many blocks are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Therefore, each smaller block here represented by 10 smallest blocks. So meaning to say this will go the same with the rest of the 4 or 3 remaining blocks, which consists the 75% or 3/4 of the population of Mrs. Sarona's class who failed the test. So let's try now. We have here, okay, the first block, which is also consists of 10 smallest blocks. Second part, we have another 10 smallest blocks. And third part, we have here another 10 smallest blocks. So therefore, if we're going to count the number of pupils that represents the 75% based on this smallest block below, we can say that there are 30 pupils. Okay? So if 25%, this one, is 10 pupils who pass the test, then 75% is 30. Why 30? We're going to count. We have 10, 20, 30. So if 75% is 30 pupils who failed the test, therefore, if we're going to add 75 plus 25%, so we have here 75% 30 pupils plus 25% 10 pupils. So 10 plus 30 equals 40 pupils are there in all in Mrs. Sarona's class. So 40 is the total number of pupils of Mrs. Sarona's class, right? So let's try another one using the same problem. We'll be able to, or let's try to make use of Teken's triangle. Okay, noting the details given by from the problem, or the facts given from the problem. So we have 75% of pupils got failed, and then assuming that 100% is n, so 100% minus 75% equals 25%. This 25% now is the hidden facts. Okay, we cannot see the 25% in the problem, rather 75% only. And then you have there 10 of her pupils who passed the test. Okay, so let's try. So let's make use of the 10, which is given. 10 pupils who passed the test. So 10 pupils is 25% of n. Let's try to find out n. But first, we're going to identify what are these 10, 25, and n. Okay, so 10 represents percentage, 25 stands for rate, and n stands for the base. So you have there percentage 10 is 25%, which is the rate of n. So we're going to find out what is the value of n. Now using the Teken's triangle, as you notice and as you observe, we have there the structure. Percentage is written at the top, rate is written at the left side, base written is the right side. So using this formula, we are now going to substitute percentage, rate, and base with the numbers given here. So 10, 25, and n. So since percentage is 10, so we will try to write 10 here. Okay. Next, rate is 25. So we will change rate into number by writing 25%. Alright. Next, base is written at the right side. Excuse me. So we are going to substitute base with a variable n. Okay, so we have here n. So therefore, we can now say the formula for this is 10 divided by 25% equals 10, n, or n equals 10 divided by 25%. How are we going to write that one? So this one. The formula for the base is equals percentage divided by rate, or over rate. 10 over 25%. So substitute the P and R, which is percentage and rate, by the given number on the problem. You have there base is equals 10 divided by 25%. However, we cannot divide 10 by 25% without removing the percent sign. So we have to remove first the percent sign by simply dividing 25 by 100. So we have the answer 0.25. Now the base we have here base is equals 10 divided by 0.25. So it becomes now a decimal. Therefore, we can now divide 10 by 0.25. So dividing 10 by 0.25, base is equals 40. Now let's try to check. If the base is 40, then since we already have here 10 pupils who pass the test, so we're going to subtract the 10 pupils who pass the test from the total number of pupils, 40. So we have here 40 minus 10 pupils who pass the test equals 30. What is this 30? Now let's check. Based on these given facts, we have here 40% times 40 pupils times 0.75. Where do we get 0.75? Here from the problem. The problem says 75% of pupils got failed from the test. So therefore, this 0.75 is taken from this 75%. Okay. So let's check whether our answer is correct. So 40 times 0.75, the answer is 30. Now, therefore, the 75% who failed the test of Mrs. Arona's class are 30 pupils. So there were 30 pupils who failed the test from Mrs. Arona's class. So meaning to say, this 75%, I repeat, consists of 30 pupils who failed the test. Therefore, the number of pupils that Mrs. Arona have in her class is 40. So we were able to answer the question here. How many pupils does she have in class? Mrs. Arona has 40 pupils in her class. Okay, let's try another approach using the same problem, using algorithm. So analyzing the details of the problem, we have here 75% of her pupils who failed the test. So the remaining percent is the number of pupils who passed the test. If 100% is the total number of pupils in the class, so the remaining is 25, which is the corresponding rate of pupils who pass the test. 10 pupils who pass the test. So 25% are the 10 pupils who pass the test. Now let's try. Using this algorithm, 10, which is the number of pupils who pass the test, equals 25% of n. We're going to find out again the value of n. So 25. 10 is the 25% of n. Therefore, what is n? Now, remember that 25%, we cannot make use of that unless we remove the percent sign. So therefore, let's divide 25 by 100 in order to make it a decimal. So 25 divided by 100, the answer would be 0.25. Solution. Let's find the total number of pupils in the class now. So let's do this one. N is equals 10 divided by 0.25. Now let's solve. 0.25 at 10 divided by 0.25. Remember that our divisor is a decimal, and our dividend is a whole number. So meaning to say, since our divisor has two decimal places, so let's add another two zeros here in your dividend in order for us to get the correct answer. So this 0.25 now becomes a whole number, 25. Now let's divide now. 10 divided by 25. 10 is smaller than 25. Therefore, the answer is 0. Okay? So 0 times 25, then your answer is 0. And then subtract 10 minus 0, your answer is 10. Then bring down 1 0 here to make it 100. Okay? So take a look at it. 100 is greater than 25. So therefore, we can now divide 100 by 25. So 100 divided by 25, how many 25 are there? Of course, you have 4. 4 times 5, 20. Okay, carry 2. 4 times 2, 8 plus 1, 10. Alright? Then subtract. 100 minus 100, the answer is 0. Now you have another 0 here. So you are going to bring that up or simply bring that down. The answer is always 0. Then multiply, the answer again is a 0. So the answer now for 10 divided by 25 is 0.40. Okay? Now the value of n is 40. Now let's check using backward method. 40, the total number of pupils. Okay, according to this solution. Then we have 75% pupils who got failed. And we have also 10 number of pupils who got passed from the test. Now, what is 75% of 40? Okay, so 40 times 0.75 plus 10 equals n. That is what we are going to find out. Now, you have here 40 times 0.75 equals 30. Now, plus 10 who got passed from the test equals n. So, 30 plus 10 equals 40. 40 equals n. So, the value of n is 40. Now, the total number of pupils in the class are 40. To answer the question in the problem, how many pupils does she have in class? The total number of Mrs. Arona's pupils were 40 all in all. Okay. Using another algorithm, let's have here 10 equals 1/4 of n using fraction. A while ago, we tried to present it using the algorithm by simply using decimal. And now we are going to employ fraction. So 25% is 1/4 of the total of pupils in the class out of 100. So instead of 25%, we make use of 1/4. Now let's try to find out the value of n. 10 divided by 1/4 equals, applying your knowledge in division of whole numbers with fraction. So you are going to write 10 over 1 automatic. There is a denominator 1 for a whole number. And then applying the rule, change the sign, division sign into a multiplication. And then 1/4, applying the rule for reciprocal. Okay, so you are going to write instead of 1/4, 4 over 1. So that becomes 10 over 1 times 4 over 1. Now, start multiplying. 10 times 4 equals 40. 1 times 1 equals 1. So, 40 over 1 or 40. Therefore, the value of n is 40. Now, the number of number of pupils in the class are 40. Let's find the number of pupils who failed by subtracting the number of passers from the total number of pupils. This is how the way we are going to check. So we have here 40 pupils all in all minus 10 pupils who passed the test according to the problem. So 40 minus 10, we have 30. This 30 now consists the or represents the 75% who failed the test. So in order to know whether 30 is the 75% of those pupils who failed from the test, so let's divide now 30 with the total number of the class. What is the total number of the class? The total number is 40. So let's try to divide 30 by the total number of the class, 40. So you have here 30 divided by 40. So looking at the solution, step-by-step solution, you have there, the answer is, the final answer is 0.75. So 0.75, our solution is correct. According to the problem, there were 75% of her pupils who failed the test. So 75% were 30 pupils who failed the test, plus the 10 pupils who got passed from the test, a total of 40. So the answer to the question, how many pupils does she have in class? Mrs. Arona has 40 pupils in her class. Alright? So let's try to summarize. Using the different methods, different tools, we have here the block model, the Teken triangle, and the algorithm 1 using the percentage and decimal. Algorithm 2 using the fraction and whole number. However, still we arrive with one and only one the same answer. We find out that, or we found out that the total number of Mrs. Sarona's class is 40. And we also found out that the hidden facts, which is 25%, the 25% is actually the 10 pupils who got passed from the test. Okay? So using these four methods, we arrive at the same answer. Now, I hope this video is a great help or can inspire you in your daily tasks in your mathematics. I would like to say now that mistakes allow thinking to happen in mathematics. Of course, we are not perfect. And in mathematics, it's always a discovery method. Never stop until you get the correct answer. For now, I would like to say math is fun. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for you to be updated for my next video. Bye bye.